Well, thank you so much for stopping by and clicking on this episode of Side Flick. Let me give you the movie news. Some of the things we'll be discussing here today, guys, is we have our first trailer for Smile 2. Gonna be giving you my thoughts on that. We got Jordan Peele teasing his next horror movie. What could it be about based off one little photo? Our first bit of plot details on the next live-action Transformers movie that's going to be the G.I. Joe crossover. Really, that alone, so much more. You guys know the drill. Leave your opinions down below. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And just as a quick shameless plug, earlier today they did release an entire article detailing the fallout and interesting plot points on what was going to be the Friday the 13th TV series with A24. I thought there was some really interesting stuff in there, enough for it to be its own video, so look out for that later today. But for now, let's just go into some of the movie news here, starting off with the trailer for Smile 2. We finally got the first look of it here, and it really is going in an unexpected direction, but a pretty welcomed one. It looks to be starring Naomi Scott, who is playing this pop star known as Sky Riley. In descriptions, it said that she's a recovering drug addict when one day she comes across the Smile curse. From here, she'll just be tormented with either smiling fans or smiling monsters, not being able to distinguish which is which, while also trying to find a way to live. I think the trailer looks pretty cool. Now, I remember the first trailer for the original Smile did not surprise me. I thought it looked like a cheesy, dumb, bad movie. And while I'm not going to say I get those vibes from this second trailer, I will say, other than this final shot that does piss me off for one reason, where a character gets hit by a car and it leads to a cool transition title card, I feel like the trailer was missing a bit of wow factor. I'm hoping the story can just much more deliver. And then again, this is a teaser trailer, so it's just meant to tease you. But the thing that pissed me off is Kyle Gallner, who's the cop from the last movie, is returning, but it looks like they spoil his death in the trailer. I was really hoping he would be here for the sequel, but that he would also be the main character, since the movie kind of ended with him getting the curse. Really sucks that it looks like he's just gonna be the opening kill, man. When's Kyle Gallner gonna get his own horror movie, man? But I am intrigued with this pop star concept either way. The only other thing I'm hoping for with this movie is we get a lot more of the Smile Monster, that thing that showed up at the end of the first film. Absolutely terrifying. I need much more of that. But you guys see the trailer for Smile 2. You like it? You dislike it? Let me know. Some kind of sad news for my fans that maybe were looking forward to the live-action Street Fighter movie that got announced. They lost their directors. It got reported here by the Hollywood Reporter that Street Fighter movie loses Talk to Me filmmakers Danny and Michael Philippou. If you guys don't remember, these are the Raka Raka YouTubers who came out with Talk to Me. One of the few success stories from YouTuber turned filmmakers. They're gonna have a great career, and we thought they were going to do an awesome job with Street Fighter, especially since on their YouTube channel, they made their own little Street Fighter YouTube short that actually excited a lot of people. You know, if this is what they were able to do in their backyard with basically no money, imagine what they could do with millions of dollars at their disposal. But sadly, it looks like they're going to have to leave the project because they're in the middle of making their next A24 movie called Bring Her Back, and the scheduling with that conflicted with Street Fighter. So now the Street Fighter movie is looking for another director. I always hate when this kind of happens with movies. I can't tell you how many movies I've been looking forward to where I felt like they had the right director, but then the studio just doesn't want to wait like the extra couple of months for the directors then to be available and to start working on the movie. Like, technically that's what happened with Scream 7. Radio Silence was supposed to come back for that 7th installment, but they were filming Abigail and busy with that, and now the studio's a whole lot more mess just because they didn't want to wait for them. Another movie I think back on what could have been RoboCop Returns. Neil Blomkamp was set to direct that movie. Then he got busy with another project. They didn't want to wait for him, and now that movie's not even happening. Hopefully something like this doesn't end up happening with the Street Fighter film, because I know a lot of people would like to see that. But is there another director you guys would like to take up that mantle? Moving on from there, we got the announcement of a new Will Smith movie I found intriguing for two reasons. For one, obviously after the release of Bad Boys and that being a pretty great box office success in a year where everyone's talking about our theaters dying, it not only proved that one, no, theaters aren't really dying, you just have to put out movies people actually want to see, and two, Will Smith still has his star power even though some were doubting it after his slap incident. And so thanks to Bad Boys kind of proving that he can still bring in box office money, they gave him this movie called Resistor with a really interesting plot. Resistor is going to be based off a book called Influx, and basically the plot thought of this movie is, in a not so distant future where people can create all sorts of technology, there is this secret bureau known as the Bureau of Technology Control that whenever something new gets invented, they immediately go and stop that invention from reaching the public. Will Smith in the movie is going to play someone named John Grady, who invents this sort of anti-gravity machine, and when he refuses to let this bureau take away his technology, he's sent to a super high-tech prison with other people who didn't want to let go of their technological advancements. And now Will Smith in this prison has to get together with all these other super smart people to try and find a way to escape this high-tech facility. So basically, it's a futuristic prison breakout movie, my kind of film. Will Smith in there? Yeah, baby. You know, as controversial as this must sound, and hear me out, I feel like that slap was the best thing to happen to Will Smith, okay? I understand at some point in a movie actor's career, they want to aim for that Oscar, right? They want to get that gold statue and prove to themselves they have it in them to earn the most prestigious award in Hollywood. But also, now that he's been banned from the Oscars for 10 years and he already won that award, what's the point of spending the next 10 years of your career trying to chase an award you can't even accept? So what does that leave Will Smith to do? Well, let's just go back to making classic blockbuster movies that I was known for, and yeah, the man has so many in his history. I Am Legend, I, Robot, Men in Black, the Bad Boys franchise. While I love his movies like Pursuit of Happiness or King Richard, I kind of have a little bit more fun with these kind of films, and he is working on I Am Legend 2 with Michael B. Jordan. So something like this where he has to break out of a high-tech prison, bring it on. How are you guys feeling about this? Bringing us here now to talk about one of my new recent favorite traditions in the last 10 years, getting excited for the next Jordan Peele horror movie. Yesterday, out of the blue, Jordan Peele took to his social media to just post this picture and caption with the date, October 23rd, 2026, beginning his early teasing marketing campaign for his next horror movie, or at least we think it's his next horror movie. I don't see what other kind of movie you would release right in the month of October. So 4 movies in, he still wants to make horror films, and we love you for that, Jordan Peele, but let's begin the speculation with like absolutely no clues. So in his last couple of movies, he's already tackled kind of like psychological horror with Get Out. He's done Aliens with Nope. And you know, although not a traditional version, I would kind of count Us as a slasher, since it was kind of people dressed up in clothing holding a sharp object. What is the next thing we would like to see from Jordan Peele? And I don't know, I was seeing a lot of people hoping it's more of a supernatural story, but like those don't really excite me, you know, ghost or demon type of stuff, but that could very well be the next thing. A more traditional slasher would be my preferred take, but like I said, I feel like Us already kind of tackled that. And even on that note, what will it feel like the most? Because Nope felt a lot like a crossover of less straight traditional horror and more metaphorical, something slightly more artsy or elevated in the horror genre. Is that what we're going to see more of Jordan Peele, or is he just going to go more of the entertaining route with like Us and making you laugh and also showing you some bloody things? I'm not too sure. At the end of the day, I'm excited though. I know every time I bring up Jordan Peele now, there's a growing number of people that just don't like him, that think he's overrated, that's like, how do people like this guy? But to me, he's consistently proven himself. It's slightly similar to the hype I get with a new M. Night Shyamalan movie. While I don't love every M. Night film, just the fact that he tries something new in the field of horror, that's exciting. But with Jordan Peele, I have liked every single one of his movies, and so there's a bit more of excitement there that no matter what his idea is, I'm most likely going to dig into it. Last thing I will say though is who would you want the stars to be? You know, people were suggesting names like Ayo Edebiri, which I do think would be fantastic in a Jordan Peele film, but there's really a long list of talented people in Hollywood that could work. Let me know your guys' thoughts and theories on the next Jordan Peele horror movie and what you'd like to see it be about. Bringing us here now to talk about the first plot details concerning the next live-action Transformers movie that maybe is exciting, or do people even care, or are we just waiting on Transformers 1, you know? So the following details actually come from the producer of the Transformer movies, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. He gave an interview on where he hopes to go with for the next movie, really detailing stuff. Now, I will say the original article was in a different language, so I'm using Google Translate to turn it into English, so if some things I read sound off or not grammatically correct, it's most likely something that got lost in translation. But in the details for the next next movie, he was talking about how a lot of the Transformer films suffer from too many characters, and this is what he wants to do with the next one. Because the problem with this kind of film is that you must necessarily have Optimus Prime, but also Bumblebee, and then such others and such others. It's endless. Very quickly, you find yourself with 16 characters, and the public is drunken. So how to get out of it? How to architect the story so as to not have to manage the entire G.I. Joe and Transformers. I'm pushing for us to have 6 main characters, no more, and until now, the danger came from either a possibility of mass extinction with arrival of villains from elsewhere, or from problems related to robots and their fight. Nothing that is not really related to humans. So this crossover is an opportunity to tackle a very human wickedness and an earthly problem. I don't know yet how we're going to do it, but for example, we could have Cobra who would make an alliance with the Decepticons, and that's how you have to see things in my opinion. I want a villain from the G.I. Joe universe because you must admit they are very good bad guys. Destroyer is great, Tomax and Exomot 2. Afterwards, we'll see whether or not it will be the main antagonist. Things will change a lot. Okay, so kind of just talking about that before we go into other details that he shared, some interesting stuff. So for one, although this is a Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover, and both Transformers and G.I. Joe have tons of characters, they actually want this to be kind of a small scale movie. You know, you would think with this being a crossover event of 2 properties, it would kind of almost be like they're Avengers and it'd be really big, but no. He later says in this article that he wants to have less characters than Transformers Rise of the Beast did. The other thing that surprised me about this is he says that the main problem in the Transformers movie will not be really related to the robots, that instead it'll be more of an Earth problem within their people. Most of the Transformers movies usually deal with something like the Allspark, or, you know, a robot from outer space coming down and becoming a problem for the humans. You know, kind of doing something where now it's the robots having to help humans with their problems. That could be more interesting and could also lend to a better connection to the human characters, because we know that's always the least interesting part of these live action Transformer movies. So I'm actually kind of interested to see that go down. I do think it was obvious that the Decepticons and Cobra would probably team up, just like how G.I. Joes and Autobots would team up. But moving on from those details, he also confirms, yes, Chris Hemsworth is going to be part of the movie. There was articles a while back saying that he was in talks, but this producer is saying that no, they locked him in and he will be part of the film. He's most likely going to end up being one of the G.I. Joes. Continuing on then with saying, but you also have to have Optimus Prime, and we know that Bumblebee is also essential. It's already 3 characters. If we add a villain from G.I. Joe, that's 4. And after Transformers Rise of the Beast, I can't see how we could miss Mirage. Well, we're already starting to get close to that 6 main characters I was talking about, especially since we can't have only 1 G.I. Joe. It would be weird. So let's say 2 G.I. Joes, and now our cast is almost full. We still have to find a story that works on this scale. Again, some surprising details because of this like smaller scale that they want to go on with this crossover. We might only end up having 2 or 3 G.I. Joes along with like 2 or 3 Cobra members, and then 2 or 3 Transformers. I really don't know if this is because they want to start small with the crossover and lead to something huge, or it's a budgeting issue because these Transformers movies unfortunately don't make as much as they used to in the Michael Bay era. Also, for my fans of Mirage, he says it right there, Mirage is most likely returning back. You also gotta wonder if Chris Hemsworth is coming in to be the star of the movie, no way he's a side character. That's your new main character of the franchise, and well, that makes me feel bad for Anthony Ramos, who was kind of like the new Shia LaBeouf for this starting series. He'll either have to now be a side character or just not be mentioned again. Interesting stuff. Again, the producer still sounds though like they're in the early stages of trying to figure out this story. Just the other day we heard that Derek Connolly is the writer of the movie, so they're probably working on the script as we speak. Details can change, but this is what the producer wants. And usually the producer gets what he wants. How are you guys feeling about these details on the next Transformers movie? But anyways, guys, that is all the information we currently have going on right now. And thanks for taking time out of my day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't forget to stick around on the channel for that Friday the 13th video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And well, I've been Chris. Take care.